Tonight I want to get into like soul food. People always say soul food is slave food. Soul food is what the masters gave us, and that's what we had to eat. And that shit is not true. Like there's no proof in that. Prove it to me that's what we had to eat. Because as far as I've done my research, all the foods that we eat in soul food were already here in America. None of that shit came from Africa. Rice is all over the world. Corn comes from America. All the shit that we eat in soul food was already here in America. So it is that's people just kill me with this ignorance, and not to say ignorance is they stupid. It's ignorance they ignore to search or seek the truth. They just take a narrative and they run with it. Right. So first I'm gonna show you a video. It's like I'm started halfway through because it was a bunch of bullshit, but I'm gonna start it halfway through. You can tell the difference. All right. So let's get into it.
Allow them to raise these chickens and pigs, knowing that if they did it for themselves, that was an expense that he did not have to incur.
Life was hard for all who drive in truck.
This your first
Right.
Iconic pink.
All right, this is where I want to start it right here. So it's a hidden history food from the soul. It's published last year, February 22nd. They ain't even got that many views. It's about in South Carolina or North Carolina. It's in one of the Carolinas. But look how you can just tell the difference. I will not show.
Building on Morrison Drive in Charleston and understood immediately why this is not called a restaurant. It is appropriately named Martha Lou's Kitchen.
This your first time? You from here?
Kunyas and binyas. That's Gullah for newcomers and natives.
This your first time? Come.
Everyone's welcome in Martha Lou's Kitchen. This time,
Look like that's somebody's grandma. That's somebody's auntie. That's an Indian. This ain't no motherfucking African. You can see, like, the more that I do this research, I can tell an Indian when I see a true-blooded American Indian, full-blooded. Ain't nothing African about this sister.
tiny pink building on Morrison Drive in downtown Charleston is a place where food is in arm's reach, just like in your own kitchen. Deborah Worthy
I am Martha Lou's Gadsden's daughter.
Ruth!
and her sister Ruth stir the pot at Martha Lou's Kitchen. Their mother, Martha Lou Gadsden, is the owner, operator, and head cook.
She's 88 years old. She'll be 89 in March. So we just let her stay at home and we do this, as a team.
They serve up belly-filling food that follows no recipes.
We do the collard green string beans.
You see that? And if you know, most grandmas don't go by recipes. They just know. They don't measure how much salt they put in, how much seasoning. They just know. All right? Because that's indigenous, man. That ain't something that you can teach. That's something that's just in you. All right? Like, for real, I need to open up your eyes and understand, man, like, who you are, bro. For if they start to ship motherfuckers back to Africa tomorrow and your ass get on that motherfucking ship talking about I'm African-American, your ass, shit, you better be ready, nigga. Because as far as I know, nigga, I'm from here, nigga. You're not just going to ship me nowhere, nigga, if they were to do that. Know who your people are, man. Know who you are, nigga.
Beans, cabbage. And this right here is the llama beans. And this is the yams, chicken, fish, and pork chop. We cook fish every day.
Just like their famous fried chicken and fried fish, soul food is encrusted with the pride of creating something special out of something simple.
Most people don't.
Creating something special out of something simple. We used what we had and we made it work from what was here on this land. The animals that we had, we made it work, alright? This ain't no slave food. This is soul food. You are soulful people. We have soul music. And people kill me with this bullshit, man, this indoctrinated way of thinking. This shit don't even make sense. Like, well, all of a sudden, if we was Africans, wouldn't we still be making some type of African cuisine? Our food is nothing like African food. Our food not even like Caribbean food. Mexican, like, all of our food is completely different from everybody else's around the world. Can't nobody make soul food like we make soul food. We soulful people. This ain't no motherfucking slave food, man. Get out of that mentality.
We don't season their food, but we season our food.
What does
we
that
put
mean,
just
season?
enough, just to season it to get the flavor to it. We don't over season it or under season it. Just put enough in there to get.
See, that's enough in there. Like, she don't even. They just know. Like, my granny cook. She don't go by no cookbook. She just know. They just know.
You over.
Even my mama, when she cooks, she don't be measuring shit. She just know.
And
the secret to your collards?
You know, you got to let it cook for at least a half an hour to 45 minutes. And you look at that water, and if that water dark green, pour that water off of them greens. Because ain't nothing you can do with it. You can put 100 pounds of sugar in there. That collard greens ain't gonna taste like nothing.
Heather Hodges of the Gullah Geechee Cultural Heritage Commission says soul food is not Gullah Geechee food. Soul food is in a class by itself.
And don't get it fucked up. Gullah Geechee, they try to say that they from West Africa, like they say everybody, but Gullah Geechee people was already here. They came off the islands of South Carolina and Georgia, and people was already here. So she tried to say, well, the Africans from the West, man, the Gullah Geechee was here. Those is Indians.
When you think about the way that soul food is served and prepared in 2019, where we are now, you see a lot of fried preparation, deep fried preparations, food that is heavily battered. That's not traditional Gullah Geechee food ways.
It's what people have come to love and expect from Martha Lou's kitchen.
Yeah, we had a lot of celebrities now. Bette Miller, we had. Sally Jesse Raphael. We had John Legend here. This Reggie Jackson right here.
Soul food, known for the taste and the hospitality that keeps you coming back for more. When we
Alright, so let me get into this. So, soul food ain't slave food, man. Alright, so next one is, if Native Americans are the true indigenous people of this land, they was already here. Why don't we know that ain't no Native American restaurant? I ain't never seen a Native American restaurant. Alright, I ain't never heard of no Native American foods. Alright, so we're gonna get into this one. We're gonna watch this whole video, so this is gonna be a long one. Alright.
This is me eating bison ribs, smothered in a spicy blueberry barbecue sauce. Whoa! And something mouth-wateringly incredible called a posu bowl. And a fry bread taco. What do all these foods have in common? They're Native American cuisine, the cuisine of the indigenous people of this land.
How the fuck they indigenous? Indigenous comes from indigo, meaning dark, people of dark color. How are they indigenous? And you already didn't seen, I didn't prove that the Indians that they found here were of dark copper color. Some even close to being black. How the fuck, man, this shit really pissed me off, man.
Made with ingredients you could once only find here and nowhere else.
You can only once find here, nowhere else? Why the fuck don't nobody even know about the shit that they cooking? Nobody never heard of this bullshit. But everybody know about soul food. No matter where you go in North America, there's a soul food restaurant somewhere. Think about this shit. How many Native American restaurants have you know about? Think these are questions you need to be fucking asking, because they not true people of this land.
Made by people who were here before colonists like this guy, and children of immigrants like me. Hi.
You'll have to dodge a lot of these hijacks too, man. This shit really gonna piss me off. I might be cussing like a goddamn sailor, because this shit really fucks me in the fucking mind that this shit is, people really believe that these people was already here. It's all a part of propaganda, all a part of, if you knew this was your land and we can own shit. If you own land, you have wealth, man. Like I said, these Asians come up here, they get a store. You motherfuckers they classify as white, man. Man, this shit really pisses me off. Nobody had it the worst like black Americans, brother. And it wasn't because we came off a fucking slave ship. It's because we was here, we was too kind, we gave them our Thanksgiving. We was too kind, and you know what I'm saying, we got fucked over.
My name's Yara, and if you've seen me before, you probably know that I take great enjoyment in eating things.
Delicious lamb fat.
Before I made this video, I'd never eaten a legit Native American meal made by the Native community, which is strange because I grew up in the San Francisco Bay
He's never ate a Native American, because this shit don't exist, man.
Area, and it's pretty cosmopolitan here.
The food that they making is some hybrid shit that they just started to come up with. This is not food that they was eating for thousands of fucking years. I don't care what the fuck. We know we can go back at least 500 years ago that we was eating soul food. If you go back to the so-called slavery times, that's still 300 years ago. And we was already eating soul food. These motherfuckers just now coming out with this shit.
I've eaten Burmese, Indian, Mexican, Russian, Korean, Japanese, Syrian, Peruvian, and Ethiopian food. But I'd never eaten at a Native restaurant. I'd never even seen one.
He never even seen one, because these motherfuckers is dope.
Supposedly some 600,000 restaurants in the US, but barely any of them, National Geographic says a handful, are Native.
And these motherfuckers gave us Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving comes from the Native Americans, but these motherfuckers barely got a handful of restaurants. Oh, but they was already here. Who would Thanksgiving come from? It come from us. We gave them soul food. We gave them Thanksgiving, brother. That's why, bro. Just dodge these hijacks. Look how in your face, like they question your stupidity, like they really just, and people still believe that these people was already here. These people are not here.
Native American.
Was not here.
When a lot of people think of native cuisine, they think of Thanksgiving food or fry bread, which are definitely a thing. But when I went on a road trip through the American Southwest with my co-producer Tabish,
Santa Fe!
I realized that it's so much more than that. Like, so much more than that. So what is native cuisine today?
You mean to tell me for thousands of years these motherfuckers was eating shit that looked like that? Soul food may not always be the appetizer. Like, it may be a bunch of fried and greasy shit, but you know that shit gonna be good. You know what I'm saying? It has a distinct look. Yeah, we may, uppity now, and you might have some gourmet soul food, but for the most part, you know what soul food like when you see some soul food. What the fuck are these niggas can make? This shit look like goddamn Mexican food. They look like goddamn Ethiopian food. All this shit look like something completely different, man. This shit.
What did it used to be? And why don't we see more of it on every street corner? So what's a Native American restaurant actually like? To show you, we're gonna start our story here, in Colorado.
We have arrived in Denver.
At like 3 in the morning with very little sleep.
But mind you though, when Columbus landed, when all these conquistadors and explorers landed, they landed on where? The southeast portion of America, the South, the dirty South, Florida, Virginia, all them. Why didn't they have to go there? Why you gotta go all the way to fucking Colorado? For real? Or what do you say, New Mexico? For real? For some native food? For real, nigga? That's not even where they landed first. So how the fuck you going there if they landed in the southern parts of the United States first? Why the fuck you going somewhere? See the shit that I'm talking about? The shit don't make sense.
We just drove for 8.5 hours. The redness of my eyes.
So we are going to Takoba, which is a Native American restaurant, and that's where we met Ben.
We're very late.
He's a member of the Osage Nation. In 2008, he and his business partner Matt opened their first restaurant.
These are Indians? These are people that they was calling niggas when they got here? These are the black-skinned, copper-colored races of America, nigga? Them motherfuckers look white, nigga. Oh my God.
And now they have 2 locations and a food truck. So they give us a behind-the-scenes look at what their food's like.
We are in the kitchen. Oh my God, something is on fire. Wow. So we are setting what on fire?
Cedar. We need to burn down a little bit more into ash,
Okay.
and then we're gonna mix it in that blue corn. We're gonna make blue corn mush. We'll get some water, and we'll have to move to the stove. So this is the most important part, watching it come to a boil.
Bro, I honestly can't tell the difference between a nigga in the green shirt. He's supposed to be like Middle Eastern or some shit. I honestly can't tell the difference between the motherfuckers. Which ones is which, nigga?
I'm stirring the water.
If this is not that exciting, we can do something else.
Oh.
This is way more exciting than watching water boil. We cook them in a bison stock that we make, so it really is the flavor of the animal.
And we covered them in this incredible, like seriously incredible, spicy blueberry barbecue sauce.
Ooh. I've never tasted anything like this in my life. Spicy, it's blueberry, it's barbecuey.
And then when you put it on the bison rib, the richness of the bison rib with the
I ain't gonna lie, that shit look like it might be good. I ain't even gonna front. I ain't never heard of no motherfucking bison ribs. That shit like it might be bound. I ain't gonna front, but this shit's still a hijack, nigga.
berry blends really, really well. We cut it right on the grill. Your knife just goes right down and it just glides past.
Nice. All right, oh my God, okay. So I grew up in a restaurant.
Just go all the way through.
Oh, man. Oh, no.
Your interview has come to an end.
Then we put it all together.
Oh, beautiful.
So this is a ojapi, like a Northern Plains berry jam, you could say.
Northern Plains berry jam. What the fuck? What the fuck? That's some Siberian shit, nigga. That ain't no American Indians, nigga. They landed in the South first, man. People gotta understand this shit. They landed in the South first. All people come from the South. Just put two and two the fuck together, man. They talk about the Native American shit. They talking about the ones who they brought from Siberia, Ellis Island and all that shit, man. Like, this shit pisses me off, man. Like, they brought the motherfuckers here. And it's...
That's beautiful. Look at those colors. Shall we? Dude, you're killing me.
Is it good? First with the sauce, now with this.
Let's try the ribs. Man, the texture of the meat, that sauce. Okay, I'm just gonna take this.
I was gonna say, I was about to have a bite.
All together now.
But there was more.
Today we're gonna make our posu bowl.
Okay.
We're gonna do a base of the wild rice.
That nigga, is he not Mexican?
Black beans or pinto beans, do you have a preference? Shredded bison.
Yes.
Hominy, it's a white puffy corn, cranberries, cilantro, red onions.
I ain't know there was that many motherfucking bisons in the world that these niggas just got bison and everything. I ain't never heard of that shit. I mean, I heard of bisons, but I ain't never heard of niggas just eating bison like that. Come on, man, that shit is...
Yellow squash, zucchini, and jicama. Some green chilies.
All this shit look like Mexican food to me, brother. I ain't gonna lie to you. Or like some type of, you know, type of Santa Fe cuisine type of shit, bro. How's this shit native to America? This shit look like some goddamn Mexican shit, bro. I'm just saying.
Elderberry vinaigrette.
Let's show the camera.
The idea for Takoba came up when Ben and Matt had this question.
Like, why is native cuisine not present outside of our community? So, you know, you can get it at home, you can get it at powwows, you can get it at community gatherings, but why is it not available on a daily basis?
So they...
Because you motherfuckers is not from here. Y'all not the true food of the native. You can get soul food every fucking day, nigga. Soul food is here. It's been here. No matter where the fuck I go. I know where the closest soul food restaurant is. So a nigga gonna know where nigga soul food down the street. Smacking, my nigga. Mary Lou's, man, you gotta try Mary Lou's, man. All right, let me go to Mary Lou's. Go, taste it, and it's good. It's hard to fuck up soul food if you really from the soul of this goddamn land.
made it available on a daily basis. And today, Takoba is one of the only Native American restaurant chains in America.
The only Native American restaurant chains in America? And these motherfuckers is the original people of this land? Come the fuck on, man. Get the fuck out of here. They should have been the first ones with goddamn restaurants out the ass. Come on, man.
I mean, I wish we could have shown you how they make their fry bread taco with bison, or their pozole soup with plump hominy,
or their sweet fry bread nuggets, and their slightly charred soft bread called bannock.
So good. Native cuisine has been around for thousands of years, but the food we had at Takoba, that's something totally new. Native food professionals are taking ancestral...
So the food, they're supposed to have food for 1,000 years, but the shit that they making now is something new? Because this shit just came about. They just started this cuisine shit. They just found the food. These are not true foods of this land, my people. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They're going to say they taking ancestral ingredients and they're making it something new. Shut the fuck up. Soul food been around for hundreds of years, thousands of years. But we can for damn sure say at least 200 years for sure. These motherfuckers just now coming out with shit. In the last, when this video made? In the last year, two? I'll give them 2 years. For real, nigga. And they been here. But they just starting to open up restaurants.
Ingredients and combining and preparing them in new ways around the country.
You know, we're the oldest cultures on this land, but...
Shut the fuck up, nigga. No, the fuck you not. Because y'all food ain't even that old. Y'all can't even prove y'all food was here that long ago. The oldest cultures. But y'all just now starting to open up restaurants? I ain't even never heard of no Native American restaurant until I seen this motherfucking video. I ain't even think about the shit. Because I already know that the true foods of the natives from this land is soul food. You can't deny this.
In many ways, we have the youngest cuisine. And the reason for that...
How are you the oldest culture but have the youngest cuisine? Come on, y'all. You motherfuckers is spitting in your face and telling you it's raining. How you the oldest culture but you got the newest cuisine? Shut the fuck up, man. This shit really pisses...
As it's not clearly defined outside of like our communities.
But how did this new Native American cuisine come about? And what exactly makes it, well, Native American? For that, I've got to rewind and tell you how we ended up here. Our journey actually started in New Mexico.
Welcome to Albuquerque.
This airport is so festive. We're here to cook with a master of Southwest Native American cuisine who's a chef slash photographer slash PhD.
Dang! We are on our
That white woman is an Indian, really. Because we already know Indian means nigga, and nigga means Indian.
way to Santa Fe tonight. There are Chili's next to our hotel room. What? We are here to interview Lois Ellen Frank.
Hey! Lois is part of the Kiowa Nation on her mom's side and Sephardic Jewish on her dad's side.
How the fuck are you Jewish and goddamn, that's that $5 Indian shit. That's when the Europeans was coming over here. They wanted pieces of the land. So they said, I'll give you $5 if you put my name on the census, on the Dawes Rolls, or put me down as an Indian and let me stay on the reservation. And now look, the motherfuckers and took over the whole goddamn shit. This is an Indian. This is an Indian. Copper color races of America. This bitch is white.
She owns a catering company specializing in native cuisine, and she runs it with Chef Walter Whitewater, who's from the Navajo Nation. Together, they host exclusive dinners showcasing a unique take on ancient recipes. Recipes Lois included in her award-winning cookbook.
Native American cuisine has evolved over 10,000 years.
And it's super diverse.
So we just now hearing about, look how the Native Americans, how the motherfuckers went from Asian to white Asian. Come on, man, this is some bullshit. Like,
together, they host exclusive dinners showcasing a unique take on ancient recipes. Recipes Lois included in her award-winning cookbook.
Native American cuisine has evolved over 10,000 years.
And it's super diverse. There are over 570 federally recognized tribes in the US, each hailing from different regions. Tribes in the Great Plains might have eaten bison and chokecherries. In the East, they consumed wild turkeys, turtles, and other small game. And those in the Pacific Northwest had access to multiple types of salmon and wild.
You see how they tried to run past the table? I mean, we eat rabbits, and you know what I'm saying? My papa would say he probably ate a rabbit before. We ate frog, turkey. So we know turkey is the main dish of Thanksgiving. That should be the main, if these so-called people are the true people of this land and they gave Thanksgiving to the Europeans, but yet it came from the southeast, or the east as they say, but yet they ain't put no chickens on there, they ain't put no type of fishes, because it's water down here too, what the fuck, so they was only eating fish up by Alaska. Make this shit make sense, man. Even if the fish, we got the Mississippi River, man. We got lakes and shit in the South, man. If we wasn't eating fish, shut the fuck up.
Wild onions. But despite that diversity, Lois has categorized thousands of years of Native American cuisine into 4 distinct historical periods. The first is the pre-contact period, which is
all the foods that existed before contact with any other culture group outside of Native people.
That includes all the food natives hunted, gathered, grew, and traded on their own before the European invasion.
But this bitch a European. Look at this bitch. Shit, the niggas before her was European.
And that would be the basis, the foundation for Native American cuisine. So wild game.
And
what I call the magic 8. So corn, beans, squash, chili, tomato, potato, vanilla, and cacao. Inherently American. Does that mean that corn didn't exist outside of the Americas in 1491? Yes. Beans, squash, didn't exist outside of the Americas. The Italians didn't have the tomato. The Irish didn't have the potato. The Russians, they didn't have vodka. Right. Potato.
So tomatoes was here in America already?
Half the British national dish, fish and chips, did not exist. No chilies in any Asian cuisine, in any East Indian cuisine. And the French had no confection using vanilla or chocolate.
So many dishes that are familiar to you and me, chicken tikka masala, spaghetti and meatballs, Thai green curry, wouldn't exist as you know them without Native American ingredients. Which brings us to the next period.
My point exactly. A lot of shit came from America, man. I've been saying this shit. Y'all people talking about shit come from Africa. No, a lot of shit came from America, man. We gave them our Thanksgiving. They took our shit, even tobacco. Like we all know our grandparents, that we all had a grandparent, grandmother, auntie that stayed smoking cigarettes. Tobacco was indigenous to America. Like, man.
So we have cuisine that's old, diverse, sophisticated, delicious, and then we have this contact
with the Europeans.
right? Let's just focus on the Spanish influence. And we can say, well, they brought horses, guns, disease, and rats. Okay, but we don't eat those. They brought domesticated animals, sheep, pork, beef, chickens, and the byproducts of those animals. If you think about native...
Chickens was already here, pigs was already here. So this bitch lying. I mean, they did bring its own too, but a lot of that shit was already here.
Americans, most of us are lactose intolerant. We ate wild game. Do you think
most Native Americans lactose intolerant? No, most niggas is lactose intolerant. Like I'm not. I like milk. You know what I'm saying? I don't drink it every fucking day, but I like me a nice glass of milk sometimes. You know what I'm saying? But most niggas are lactose. Shut the this bitch just lying. Dodge the hijack.
you could get close enough to an elk to milk it?
After a few centuries of this food exchange, native ingredients spread throughout the world.
You see how it went to Africa first? I don't know if y'all catch that little diagram. It went to Africa first.
We ate wild game. Do you think you could get close enough to an elk to milk it?
After a few centuries of this...
And you see how they try to say it come from the... Come on, man. We know... Columbus and all the other explorers landed in southeast part of the United States. They landed in the dirty South. Why the fuck they talking about it come all the way up there from damn Alaska to Africa? That don't even make logical sense. That don't even make sense. Because they didn't even land there first. He landed in the South first. So how the fuck are they talking about corn all the way? See how they do this shit? They dodge these fucking hijacks, but yeah, they talking about it goes to Africa first. From all the way the fuck up there. Shut the fuck up, man. If it was already the fuck up there, they supposed to come through the Bering Strait. Why didn't they just take it to the Bering Strait? You see what the fuck I'm saying?
Food exchange, native ingredients spread throughout the world. But as that happened, Native Americans were being robbed of their land.
Millions and millions of immigrants were coming to the United States. And maybe that's a good thing for the immigrants, but not such a good thing for Native people.
These new settlers really
This bitch just annoys the fuck out of me.
Really wanted land. And they pillaged, plundered, and killed natives and burned down their towns to get their hands on it. The U.S.
Tulsa, Oklahoma. Seneca Village. It's a lot more that they... The Seminole, you know what I'm saying? The Seminoles territory, the Choctaw territory, all were these black-owned cities and black towns that was already here. They burnt down and they destroyed. Pay attention.
The U.S. government played a massive role too. They even
what native town you heard about them dropping bombs on? They dropped bombs on Tulsa, nigga. In 1920s, nigga, they dropped bombs on these people, man. A black city, a black community. They dropped bombs on them. What Native American community you heard they got bombed? You can't, nigga, because they are not the true people of this land. It wasn't their land. This is our land, nigga.
Passed something called the Indian Removal Act.
And all this was to do was to remove Negroes. You had to classify the Indians, the original people, our people, had to classify as Negroes or colored. That what the fuck the Indian Removal Act was, nigga. He finna lie and hijack this shit.
And one of the biggest atrocities they committed came to be known as the Trail of Tears. Starting in the 1830s, tens of thousands of natives in the Southeast were forced to march thousands.
So how the fuck we going to the fucking Northwest if the people was from the Southeast? They wanted us to move west. A lot of people didn't want to move. They were like, we been here. I'm good here. Okay, you just want me to classify as Negro? Fuck it, I'll be a Negro. Okay, I don't give a fuck what you call me. I know who I am, and I know where I've been at. I ain't going to no goddamn Oklahoma on some goddamn deserted land so y'all can say I have to be an Indian. Fuck that. I'll stay in Louisiana. Call me Negro, call me colored, call me black. I don't care.
Thousands of miles in harsh conditions. Thousands upon thousands died. Those that survived were confined to a designated Indian territory, right around here. And over the next few decades, even more tribes were crammed into this space.
My tribe is evicted and moved to Indian territory.
And the land the US government confined them to, little by little, even that was seized by the settlers. Other tribes were being forced onto plots of land called reservations as a way to control them. Once there, they couldn't hunt, gather, or grow traditional foods like...
This is a fucking lie. Well, in the sense of to them. Because they talking about reservations, that he really saying, he should be saying the American ghettos, the black hoods across America. That's where they push it so they can watch islands. Because what do? So when we got to the ghetto, what they do? The police is policing us all goddamn day. From then to now, if you in the hood, the police is always around. It was worse back then. While we had the LA riots, while we had the Watts riots, while we had the shit because the motherfucker was always fucking with us. Think about the shit. It's like, hear what he's saying and apply it to the black Americans. And it makes so much more sense. Because these motherfuckers ain't getting harassed by the police. These motherfuckers wasn't getting chased down by dogs, nigga. Water holes. Come on, man.
They used to. This is when a lot of native cuisine was lost.
How the fuck you lose something that was already here? You can't lose something that was already fucking here. But yet we still got our soul food and we was the slaves. But y'all motherfuckers was already here. Alright.
Whenever you're displaced, you lose
Y'all ain't got no culture here.
traditional knowledge surrounding where you've been living for thousands of years. What foods grow, what animals are there, when to plant, when to harvest.
Now, native people were living on unfamiliar land, forced to live without the resources they used to have.
So the government steps in and issues commodity foods, starvation foods, army rations to keep them alive, barely. We call this the government issue. The government issued foods for survival.
These
sound like welfare to me. But yeah, we the ones who got the welfare. Government issues. They gave us government cheese, a big ass block of cheese. I don't give a fuck if you're a black American, your people's really from here, you know, you ain't got no African in you, you can't prove it. You grew up on some motherfucking welfare. And I'm proud that I grew up on welfare. Because it just proves much of who I am. You know what I'm saying? Majority of us grew up on welfare some way or form, man.
These were ingredients like flour, lard, coffee, and sugar. Foods that were completely different from what natives were used to, with far less nutritional value than their own traditional cuisine.
Out of this period, fry bread's born. And so fry bread is an interesting native food, an imposed government food that we use for survival. Those elders, if they didn't come up with this bread, maybe they would have perished. But it also represents colonization.
That history is why some native chefs use fry bread and others don't. And that brings us to the last period, the one we're in now. It's what Lois calls new Native American cuisine.
Now, native chefs around the United States are classically trained, equal to their European counterparts, and we are choosing what ingredients from what period we want to put in our menus.
Shut the fuck up. So if you was already here, you would have known that any food on this land you can make, you know what I'm saying, you can make a dish out of. Like I said, my papa said he ate rabbit. He probably ate a lot of different shit in the South.
I can construct menus from any of those periods, all of those periods, and the way we present them are very new.
So we helped them prep for one of their big events.
Because it is new. The shit didn't exist here before this.
What are we making today?
Roasted chilies.
I'm stuffing bison inside of it.
Ooh.
It needs a starch because that holds together. I use quinoa. The native people always tell you, like, don't cook it when you're angry, you know, or you'll make the food bitter.
Native people a long time ago devised this method of charring chilies because when you char a chili, you bring the oil out. So the oil is the medicine and the oil is the flavor.
I'm just filling my little boat with with goodies. All right, 1, 2, 3. All right. What are we making?
Stuffed trout.
So this is sage from the garden. This is probably the first ancestral oven. We're gonna roll it in corn husk, which I call the Native American aluminum foil.
You're mummifying this.
And then we're gonna wrap it in clay. Once it's in clay,
oh no, you ripped it.
it would have been put into the fire, but the clay protects it, steaming it. Beautiful, beautiful.
This shit just sounds stupid. I'm sorry, it sounds stupid.
And then the guests arrived, and Lois gave them an important history refresher.
It's always about who's telling the story. So if native people got on boats.
Exactly, it's always about who's telling the story. They told you come from Africa, they told you was a slave. And you believe that shit. But yet, throughout your oral history, because we have an oral history being the American Indians, we was told that we was already here.
And went to Europe. Europe would be the new world.
And then we ate.
Yeah. How's the food?
I think Derek has a good reaction.
How was it?
It was amazing. There was so much complexity and depth to all the flavors. Everything that was on this table tonight blew my mind.
Oh, and I almost forgot.
Does anyone want to experience the cracking? Isn't that amazing? And really what we've done is we've created an ancient oven.
It smells amazing.
It does smell amazing.
I think I made that one.
So in some instances, you're going to have to be a little more aggressive. So you can actually see the herbs right inside. Corn is a pretty amazing plant. We can use the husk, we can use the cobs, and we can use the kernels. A very native way of thinking is zero waste. What's the sauce? This is a guajillo chili. Look how beautiful. It's moist, it's steamed.
I didn't just want to attend an event, eat the food, and move on. I wanted to know more about the people behind that food and their history. So Walter was kind enough to invite us to the Navajo Nation, where he grew up. So we packed our bags and said goodbye to the hotel. After a long drive, we ended up in a place called Canyon de Chelly.
It's all here. It's all right there, the voice.
Oh, that is phenomenally beautiful.
Canyon de Chelly is a sacred site for the Navajo, especially because of the towering spider rock. Legend has it, the rock was home to Spider Woman, who taught the Navajo the art of weaving. But the canyon's walls are also etched with a tragic story of hurt and pain.
This land and your connection to it. What happened here 150 years ago?
People took the long walk.
In the 1860s, thousands of Navajos and some Apaches were violently removed from their lands. They were forced to march to what was essentially a concentration camp in southeastern New Mexico.
I believe they called it the New Mexico Trail of Tears. Everything was taken away from us.
Hundreds of Navajo died during the long walk. They were starved and raped and shot if they couldn't keep up. That included pregnant women and the elderly. And the story at Canyon de Chelly, a Navajo stronghold, was particularly horrifying. The American military carried out a scorched earth campaign. They slaughtered the Navajo's sheep, burned their crops, and starved them until they surrendered.
When they seen their crops, their animals being destroyed, taking that long walk without food and water, when that happens, when everything is taken away from you, it shatters everyone, you know?
The Navajo eventually arrived at the camp, but the land wasn't fit for farming and hunting was difficult there. They had no choice but to abandon their ancestral foods and survive off of nutritionally poor US military food rations. As a result, over 2,000 of them died of disease and starvation. Eventually, the US government released those that survived. But like other tribes, they were then confined to a reservation, which has today become the Navajo Nation. These forced removals of Native people were guided by a racist ideology known as manifest destiny, that somehow this land belonged to.
How the fuck is it racist and these motherfuckers look like goddamn Europeans? They look like Asians. But yet black folks dealt with most of the racism here in America.
White settlers, and only white settlers, through some sort of divine order.
Even to this day, some of the old people talk about what happened and how we're gonna carry on our traditional ways that we used to have.
So much of Native culture was passed down by word of mouth. But being robbed of their land,
just like us. We have all of our history was passed down by word of mouth from our grandmas, our uncles, our aunties, our parents, our grandfathers.
Their way of life, being killed and forced onto reservations, that led to the loss of a lot of cultural traditions, including culinary ones. The repercussions of that brutal colonial past are apparent as soon as you drive onto the reservation. Not only is there a severe lack of native restaurants here, there's, well, a severe lack of everything food related. The Navajo Nation is a food desert. There are only about 10 grocery stores in the entire area of nearly 28,000 square miles. And 80% of the foods in those stores have little to no nutritional value. Driving around the reservation, it's hard to find much else besides fast food. Native people's traditional diets have been decimated by years of colonization, and this has led to extremely high rates of obesity and diabetes. Today, Native Americans are twice as likely to get diabetes as someone who's white. And that's why, for Walter, helping.
But yet most black American people have diabetes. It runs in our family. higher than it does any other people in this country. All right.
Others from his community reconnect with their culinary traditions is so important.
If you don't pass it, it's going to go away. They always tell us, hang on to your root, hang on to what you have. Little that I can, always pass it down to whoever that wants to learn, you know.
And you're keeping it alive yourself.
Oh yeah.
Before we left the Navajo Nation, Walter taught me how to cook this incredible dish of lamb chops in a chili honey glaze.
I love the color on that.
So we got some chili powder.
Yeah.
And then we can get some honey. Ooh, that's really good.
Look at that.
Pine nuts are also very much Navajo ingredient.
And the food was so tasty, especially this delicious piece of
Lamb fat.
After cleaning up, high-fiving Walter,
Thanks so much.
and feeding bones to some stray dogs,
No, it's there.
we were on our way to our final destination, the place where this video started. The drive there was very pretty and exhilarating.
Hey, we zoom into the cows, dude.
So many cows.
And if you remember, I was pretty delirious by the time we arrived.
Oh my god, it is late.
So we're back at Takoba with Ben and Matt, where we ate this, and this. But let's go back to that initial question that inspired this whole trip.
So in a lot of big cities across the country, we have Chinese restaurants, we have Italian restaurants, we have Mexican restaurants, but we don't have a Native American restaurant like
You got soul food restaurants. You see how you can try to say that though.
on every street corner. Why is that?
I think for so long, the food was very much held within the community. Mom's cooking, grandma's cooking, dad's cooking. We didn't have a lot of other restaurants to really look towards to like design ourselves off of, to build off of.
And remember, that has a lot to do with the
But y'all the original people of this land, so-called. But y'all couldn't figure out, shut the fuck up.
centuries of ruthless colonization that devastated native food culture. The forced removals, the killings, the rupturing of ancestral traditions that date back thousands of years.
So now we're at this place where they're native chefs. I mean, like really successful, highly skilled native chefs. And we can really create what we want the food to be. And we can create it in a restaurant environment that not only tells the story of the food, but tells the story of the people. And really has like the heart of it. Because what we do at the end of the day is we represent people. And that really needs a part of what the food is.
Chefs like Lois, Ben, Walter, and others are bringing about a revival of Native American cuisine and restoring it to its rightful place. And while the new native restaurant scene is still emerging, native food is already, in a sense, everywhere. It's in your pasta, it's in your curry, and it's in your dessert. Everyone's cuisine owes something to Native American.
Man, no, all the shit that they was making, I ain't never heard of none of that shit. None of that shit. So that's a motherfucking lie.
And who knows, maybe someday soon, we'll have Native American restaurants run by Native people telling their own stories on every street corner in every major city across this country. Because seriously, you need to try this incredible spicy blueberry barbecue sauce on these incredible bison ribs. Hey, I have a beard. Anyway, you guys, Native cuisine.
Bruh. Do you see what the fuck I'm talking about, man? Do you see what the fuck I'm talking about? None of that food that they ever presented was in motherfucking Thanksgiving. None of that shit is shit that you ever even heard of, man. Soul food is not slave food. Soul food is the food of the people that was already here, man. And I'm out.